You would think somebody that churns out 3 videos a day wouldn't have need for an update video. But I do. I wanted to give you an idea what's going on with me and what's going on with the channel. And I want to start by saying, first off, I appreciate everyone that watches this stuff. I appreciate the commenters, and I appreciate everybody taking the time and offering honest answers. And I am glad and I am honored that you feel comfortable enough to come and answer honestly. And I hope that is something that we'll be able to continue. And I really, the other points of view are just amazing, and I very much appreciate them. And I'm a better person. I'm a better person for hearing them. And I'm humbled. I'm humbled that my channel is at times a hub for that communication. It always feels weird to get. It still feels weird to get video responses to something that I do. Let's see. Another update. The cat is messing with the Christmas tree again. Now I'm taking in this series from Shall Not Be Infringed about the pilot boat Can Do. I got a lot of thoughts about that, and I want to finish up. Watching the whole thing before I talk about it. I turned it all into a playlist that I'm hosting over on my channel. For those who don't know the way that a playlist works, if you go to a channel that has one, you can start at the first video, and it auto plays the videos in succession, so you don't have to say search for Can Do Part 1, Can Do Part 2, Can Do Part 3. They're all in order over there right now. It's a nifty way to put some of those videos together in succession. When Mike did them, apparently was when we were limited to 10-minute videos, and so that was tricky. That was tricky for all of us, and it's part of how I got into doing the 4-minute and 3-minute blurbs. Is I got so used to that shorter time frame that I wasn't comfortable with trying to squeeze it right out to the 10-minute mark. So I would organize my thoughts to the best of my ability and just kaboom, And a lot of times those thoughts were ill-formed and misconstrued and all that good stuff. Let's see. I'm gonna let. We also have the that redress of government video that I'll be giving my points on. I want to give it one more day to collect more responses. I just want to make sure everybody gets a chance to get their time in, and then that'll continue after I do mine as well. So probably expect my response tomorrow morning, maybe, depending on how it all works out. Which I think this will be the first time that I do a video response to myself, which I'm surprised I haven't done that before, because I'm really into me. You gotta love yourself before you can love anyone else, right? Let's see what else we got going on. We got Mike from the 1911 channel. Good old Mike. He bought a new production Colt Mustang, and it may be worth taking a look at his video there. He's got looks like he's got some legitimate concerns, in my opinion. From what I see, what he showed in the video, pretty much not, in my opinion, not what I expect from Colt, and especially considering the history of the Mustang. Let me tell you a quick Colt Mustang story. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm just going to tell you. The first instance I had of hearing of the Colt Mustang. Now I grew up with revolvers. My dad had a Ruger Black Hawk, and I think we also had like a Rossi 22 Magnum, and we had a Colt 38 Police Positive as well. But the as far as auto pistols, it's not something that I got into until till much later on. Until I was just a little bit before 21 years old. Not that it's either here nor there. I mean, we're rifle people, and that's just the way it is. So my first exposure to the Colt Mustang was actually, believe it or not, Mr. Nutton Fancy, and he talked about the reliability issues of the Colt Mustang and related it to the design of the SIG P238. And I feel that his analysis in that is correct. And everything that I've checked on, I haven't personally shot any production of Colt Mustang, but much like some offerings from Keltec, you will be hard pressed to finish out a whole magazine of ammunition without a stoppage. And it holds true for a Mustang. And I ended up, somebody I knew, he's a concealed carrier down here in Florida, and he got a Colt Mustang in trade for somebody owed him some money, so they offered him a Colt. And he thought he was hot stuff, man. He's got a Colt, and his experience with Colt before that, he has a, I don't know how it goes, but he has a beautiful Colt officer's model. Uh, it's a partial melt stainless steel, just gorgeous. Uh, it's funny. It's funny to hear him talk about guns too, because I don't. Much like Nikon 777, a lot of times I don't tell people my business. I don't. I'm not so quick to say, oh, da, 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 da. So I just let people run their mouths, and he's going on and on and on about the 45 ACP, and he'll be like, oh, and it's this and it's that, and then he showed me these soft nose bullets that he likes to use, and it's like, yeah, and this bullet does this, and this bullet does that, and I'll pull out like a freaking 45 FTX ACP and say, well, this is what I use in my 45. like, you want a big bullet? Here's a 300 Winchester Magnum. Yeah, well, yeah, it's like, yes. Bitch talking about how your shit's a Mark 19. That ain't no Mark 19. Anywho's. I guess you just never know who you're talking to. So my entertainment. Now this is an aside, and my entertainment is because I know the guy's carrying, and I'll challenge myself to figure out where he's printing, and if I'm in the mood for it and if I have the time for it, I'll tell him what gun he's carrying on that particular day. I remember another time he picked up this Derringer, and it was chambered in 9mm. Okay, and this is related to the Mustang story, the Colt Mustang story of his. I'm sure you guys are familiar with a Derringer. Any real caliber in a Derringer is a lot to handle. By real caliber, I'm thinking anything over, say, 25 ACP or 32 H&R, 32 Smith, anything over that, and it's a handful. It's physics. You know what I'm saying? It's physics. Something weighs hardly any ounces. The opposing force of shooting a bullet out of it's going to make it a handful. So he gets this 9mm Derringer. I'm like, did you shoot it yet? He's like, no, I'm going this weekend. Now, that's his thing. He carries stuff without shooting it. And he'll go on and on about his marksmanship abilities with his 45 officers model. And whatever. Do what you want, right? He's fun to screw with, though. So he shoots the Derringer. And I talked to him that night. He actually comes to me specifically. He's like, I shot that Derringer. He was honest with me. He's like, at 10 yards, if I want to hit a target center mass, I got to aim at the ground the way that this thing acts. So he starts carrying this Colt Mustang. I'm like, have you shot it yet? No. And he's like ankle carrying the son of a bitch. And it's hanging out like almost like here's his leg. It's hanging out that far one day. I'm like, dude, you're printing bad. Like, there's your gun right there. I'm like, have you shot that thing yet, by the way? Oh, no. He doesn't say anything for a month. And he goes back to carrying the Derringer, which he's all too happy to show people. And, man, this one time, I don't know, he was wearing, he had the gun in his pocket, and it actually made the perfect Derringer outline. Like, like what are you going to Ford's Theater to go see Lincoln? What's going on here? John Wilkes Booth? Shit. Oh, but so he goes and shoots a Mustang, and I ask him later on, I'm like, well, what happened with the Mustang? He says, what Mustang? I said, your Colt Mustang. It's like, oh, I got rid of that thing because I was going to get it from him. You know, I would, I'm looking to, maybe one day pick one of those up as a novelty. I'm not going to trust my life to this, this design, which, okay, here's my theory on the Colt Mustang really quick as an aside. You take a 1911 designed by John Moses Browning or any of the improvements thereafter, and then you shrink it down, you shrink it down, you shrink it down proportionally. You try to shrink down spring force. Spring technology in the late 70s and early 80s naturally isn't what it is today. The proportions of the force change as you shrink down these mechanisms. The smaller the gun, the smaller the slide action, the shorter the cartridge. I mean, stuff has to happen in a hurry. So when you get these pocket autos, stuff gets pretty critical. And I don't hold necessarily anything against Colt, but I understand how it could be difficult to manufacture such an item. However, given the storied history of Colt and the reason why Colts are able to sell for what they're able to sell for, I don't see an excuse for it. They have the technology. They could hire the people. I don't see it. I don't see the reason for it. Now, any hoozle, to borrow a term from digital, he gets rid of the Mustang. Says, yeah, he's like, you couldn't get 3 rounds in a row out of that thing. It was terrible. Now, granted, part of our problem with 380 belly guns is that 380 ammunition is expensive, so we're tempted to go with less expensive 380 ammo, and that does have quite a bit of an effect. You gotta feed that bitch 50 cents, 75 cent a bullet ammo to get them to work correctly. And I mean, it is what it is, right? But back to the original thing, Mike from the 1911 channel, born again from the ashes, the phoenix of the gun community, Mike. He picked up a 2011 new production Mustang, and I ain't gonna mess with y'all. I was excited about the new Colt Mustang. But go ahead and check out his video. I'll have a link. That'll be the one link in the description bar. Check out his results and see for yourself. I don't know, man. Based on what I saw personally, based on what I saw of his thing, that's not what I'm looking for in a by the time we're out the door, $750 $380. You know, not when I see the Taurus TCP going off every time, and pretty clean lines on that pistol, and certainly not on the examples I've seen with SIG's P238, which, thank the maker, still seems to be a pretty decent firearm. If you're out the door with a SIG 238 for $200 less than that abomination, then that's the direction I'm going. Not that I'm into a 380. I'm actually I'm thinking about revolvers here lately. Reason being, I don't know what's going on with me, and maybe I need to do a handgun course or get some personal instruction. But I am just shooting consistently to the left, and there's something going on with my shooting, and I'm doing it with the Glock, and I'm also doing it with the 1911 design. I don't know. And when I try to aim to the right to compensate for where I'm going to the left, then I end up shooting exactly right. I got a couple things that I'm going to try, but I've tried trigger depth, because I'm directly to the left of the bowl. So I've tried to get some more trigger depth to see if it'll go back over. I've tried a tighter grip, a looser grip, but I'm almost to the point, like at 10 yards, I am 2 to 3 inches left. My grouping is getting much tighter, but 2 to 3 inches left. My concern is that 2 to 3 inches left at 10 yards. That's like what, 20 minutes from point of aim. So at 25 yards, I'm actually going to be, from perception wise, pointing off target. I'm not comfortable with that. And oddly, my results from shooting a 19 whatever the hell Colt police pocket positive in 32, I'm like right dead center with a grouping that would make anybody proud, all 6 bullets. Which is bizarre, because when I'm holding that little thing, I don't feel like I'm actually holding. It's like my hands are big. On my Glock 19, when I'm holding my Glock 19, I can show y'all, it looks like I'm holding a Glock 26. So like I'm sitting there with the 32, and I'm just swallowing up this thing, and lo and behold, I'm shooting really well with it. Now that does have a marvelous single action trigger pull. And maybe the solution is to go with a single action design, but no. But there you go. That's a damn near 20-minute update video. Wanted to get everybody up to speed. I got a lot going on, obviously, and it seems like I have plenty to talk about. I don't see that letting up anytime soon. So I appreciate anybody that watched it to this far. That's pretty cool, man. My silly little gun ramblings, and I know some people that watch this business for the firearm stuff. I know it seems like the stuff's far and in between. Honestly, I don't want anything I do with firearms to confuse any of my political activism. Those two things are totally separate. Y'all should know what I feel about force right now. I don't believe in it on either side. I don't want to listen to somebody because they have a gun, and I don't want somebody to listen to me because I have a gun. That's not what those things are for. No, not even for a moment. They don't. In my opinion, those things don't mix. So yeah, tell you what, in the comments, if you made it this far, tell me why I'm shooting to the left, other than I'm a retard. Now, what could be a possibility, here we are back on track for shooting to the left. because when I aim to the right, I'm actually shooting right. I'm thinking what I may try the next time I go out, I will aim right and then actually adjust my feet slightly left. But I mean, good luck remembering that when I try to shoot, because I square up. I square up on the target. Um, I shot Weaver stance for the longest time, and what is it I'm doing now? Like a modified isosceles. Like I'm straight out, relaxed. I mean, I'm like a shitty version of Chris Costa. I need to. I don't know. I'm always kind of changing it up. Maybe I shouldn't. And maybe I should get back to point shooting. I don't know. I just don't know. All right. Y'all take care.